Hello everybody, I'm Walt Jashik, aka Comic Walt. I write comics, I talk comics, I celebrate comics, and this unboxing video fits all three of those playlists because evidently some of my humor writing is in this Marvel Masterworks X-Men 17 edition. If I can get it open, here we go. I love the sound of opening comics in the morning. Don't you? And hey, this volume is not just the most recent Marvel Masterworks X-Men, it might be the last one. Marvel Bulletin is putting Masterworks on hiatus. We'll talk more about that in the video. First, let's say we get this cellophane off and take a closer look at this very intriguing volume. Okay, now we can see this cool cover the way it was meant to be seen. It reproduces the cover of X-Men, UNCANNY X-Men 248 by Jim Lee and Dan Green. Back cover has thumbnails of the covers of some of the comics lovingly reproduced in this Masterworks. Let's take a little tour, shall we? I'll open it up and look at some select pages. We'll go through it briskly, but not too briskly. I want to savor the experience. Beautiful end papers and Marvel's copy about the edition. I'm going to read from that in a bit to orient all of us. Okay, here is the credits page. This volume, primarily credited to Chris Claremont and Mark Silvestri, reprints UNCANNY X-Men numbers 244 through 255 and annual number 13. The issues range from May 1989 to December 1989. The book was monthly and even twice a month back in those days. UNCANNY X-Men, a very, very popular best-selling Marvel title back in the 80s. We are about to see why. Here is the introduction by longtime X-Men writer Chris Claremont, who wrote all but just a couple of the stories in this volume. And I must mention that I got to meet Chris Claremont at Planet Comic Con in 2023, and, well, that's another story, but I had to mention it. I met Chris Claremont. I look forward to reading this introduction and about his collaboration with Mark Silvestri, great comics artist who drew most of the stories in this volume, starting with this one, X-Men 244, Ladies' Night, also, as I recall, the first appearance of Jubilee. Well, check me on that, X-Men fans, but there she is in the mall where she lived, right? I think so. Cut to X-Men Mansion where, let's see, Storm, Dazzler, Rogue, and Psylocke, at Dazzler's urging, go shopping and run into not only a band of self-appointed mutant hunters, but an adolescent youngster, just 13, whose power allows her to manipulate light. I'm reading. The aforementioned Jubilee. That's Mark Silvestri, inked by Dan Green. Ooh, look at that interstitial page. Lovely. Well, the next issue then cuts from the women to the men and reveals here in issue 245 what the guys were up to. Involves the word blammo. Marvel says the Masterworks series was, quote, created to give comic book readers everywhere the chance to experience the creation of the Marvel Universe firsthand. The works contained within Pulse, with the same vitality, the same originality, and the same genius today as they did so many years ago. Well, bravo to that. Hey, here is a story not by Chris Claremont. It's by Terry Austin, and it was in that, X-Men Annual? Yes, X-Men Annual 13, 1989. That's a story called Double Cross. There's also a cover featured story, Jubilation Day, that is going to give us more of the origin of Jubilee, right? She becomes an X-Men in this issue? Correct me on that, experts. Get it, experts? I just made that up. But let's pull out a little. I want to read the promo copy for this Marvel Masterworks specifically and how Marvel frames it. To quote, Chris Claremont's deeply personalized characterizations in X-Men created a legion of forever fans. From the ashes of Inferno, the X-Men seek to recover and regroup, but the Reavers have no intentions of letting that happen. As they stalk the depleted team, the remaining members of the X-Men fall one by one. Tortured and gravely wounded, this time even Wolverine might not live to fight another day. Moira MacTaggert forms a group as the final line of defense, but Xavier's dream might die on Muir Island. It's a dire and dramatic saga masterfully executed by legendary X-scribe Chris Claremont. Highlights in this volume also feature Rogue's tragic internal war with Carol Danvers, Master Mold, and the threat of a Sentinel resurgence, as well as superstar artist Jim Lee's X-Men debut, Hey! Stop, that's a Jim Lee spread. Beautiful. From X-Men 248, The Cradle Will Fall. One of Jim's first issues. Not the first. We'll see that one in just a little while, but we can savor some Jim Lee and Dan Green pages. Seeming reverse aging of Psylocke. Ooh, this is going to be a good read. Or reread, eh? Blam! Splam! Boom, crash. Beautiful work by Jim Lee. Leading us into the next issue, 249, The Dane Curse, the return of Mark Silvestri and Dan Green. And can we give a nod here to Tom Orzechowski, the letterer on almost every page in this volume. Here's that famous cover of 251 of Wolverine by Silvestri and Green. Fantastic. And as I was saying, Orzechowski. Is this really the last X-Men Marvel Masterwork? I googled Marvel putting Masterworks on hiatus, and I did see a variety of articles, including Bleeding Cool, that said yes, Marvel announced the entire Masterworks line is going on hiatus. They announced that in June, and the publications will stop at the end of the year. There might be one or two more beyond this X-Men. I think they mentioned a Ghost Rider, but they're done. Ooh, where's Wolverine? They're done, citing decreasing sales to an ever-limited market. That market certainly is me. I now want to go back and get Marvel Masterworks X-Men 1 through 16. What do you think that'll cost me? This is not fun. Yes, it is. Let me know what you think about Masterworks and the decision of Marvel to go on hiatus. Are you a Masterworks collector? Ooh. Storm warnings. This is a Storm solo book. She seems to be hospitalized. A lot of cool drama going on, and that would be Magneto. Oh boy, oh boy. But anyway, leave me a comment with your point of view. I also saw a headline, all new, all different. Here we go again. A headline that said, you won't have Masterworks to kick around anymore, suggesting to me that there's some disgruntled fans read the Masterworks. Disgruntled comic fans? Can't be true. Thrum, scrack. Buffoom. Buffoom, that's a good one. Skabam. And a classic boom. Now it looks like we're about to come to, This now says X-Men 248 was Jim Lee's first published X-Men story. But the assignment that got him the job was Classic X-Men 39, November 1989. This is the backup story, Briggs' Revenge. The writer was Ann Nocenti. The penciler was Jim. The inker is Joe Rubinstein. And the letterer is Jim Novak, colorist Greg Wright. The editor was Bob Harris on Classic X-Men. What a job Jim turned in. Got him a regular gig. As well it should. Oh ho, now we come to the section that might have some of my work. Yeah, there I am listed under writers. No small thrill, let me tell you. Jim plotted the story we did, but this is what the. The book summarizes it thusly, quote, reigniting Marvel's penchant for parody, What the debuted in August 1988 and wasted no time honing its edge on the X-Men, just like its 1967 through 1969 forebearer, not Brand Echh. Writers were Peter Gillis, Al Milgrom, Kurt Busiek, Peter David, some guy named me. Pencilers included Mike Mignola, Kyle Baker, and Jim Lee himself. Lone Wolvie and Chris. Parody of Lone Wolf and Cub, of course. Wow. This is so cool. I gotta reread that. There's a little Jim art, and here comes the parody story Jim Lee and I teamed up on. Ill-conceived character couplings, or team-ups that will probably never get their own limited series. Coupling number 7, Magneto and Colossalus. Oops. Kids, remember, magnetic powers and metallic skin just don't mix. Jim plotted the story as I mentioned it. His idea was to throw together characters who wouldn't work together and were specifically talkative, verbose characters who would not allow each other to get a word in edgewise. It was an honor to be invited to write this. Thanks again, Jim. Hey, there's an Uncanny X-Men cover that was reproduced in gold foil, one of the first to do so. Printing because the book was selling so darn well under Claremont and Jim Lee. Here's some backup material from Marvel Fanfare. Ooh, that's a John Byrne. And some beautiful work by Howard Chaykin. Wow. Well, I better not show everything. Let there be some surprises, like some original art. Oh man. Hey, there are biographies of the writers and artists in this edition, and what do you know? There I am at the bottom of the left-hand page. What an honor to be in a Masterworks while there still is a Masterwork. Thanks for loving on this book with me. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Get your own copy, link in description, and join us again for more comic celebrations. I'm Walt Chashik, aka Comic Walt, reminding you to keep writing, keep reading, keep creating, and keep having fun.